November the 19th, 2025. Guys, you're looking at satellite images live as of 3:51 p.m. Central Time. That's 4:51 on the East Coast as we speak. And what you're looking at is moisture coming out of the Pacific Ocean. Now, I've seen flooding videos in Vegas, in California, other places, guys, so that it's pretty thick moisture. Now, for the last few days, this section of the southeast where we're at has been pretty dry. But that's about to change in the next, or really starting tomorrow, guys. You got this moisture is going to build in through Thursday and Friday into the southeast. Let's look at the water vapor loop just a moment. Now we'll start with the lower level water vapor. In other words, at 3 different heights in the atmosphere is how this is measured. This is the lowest level right there. You can see where the white clouds are coming in through central Texas now and coming out of Mexico. Let's go to the mid-level water vapor here, and it's thicker there. All of this, the reason I'm going here is because it's going to pile up over the next few days, and you can see now diving into in the upper levels, or the mid-levels, excuse me, through the southeast. Now let's go to the upper level. A lot of moisture here, and we're going to end up dealing with that, and a lot of this is going to turn out to be snow in the next few days coming across this section of this pressure area. Storms below it, possibly tornadoes, things like that. Still, that's not the reason I'm going here right now. Let's go to the true color. We've got some problems. It's going to get cold and possibly colder than it has, some are saying, in about 50 years, especially up in the northeast from Chicago over to the East Coast. Could be, and moisture is going to be excessive in some of these areas. I talked about it as we did not see the hurricanes really come ashore this year or get into the Gulf of America or along the East Coast, except for 1 or 2, that we were going to have moisture problems with snow, ice, things like that. And that's what we're seeing start to build up now. Now, before anybody comes in here and tells me you do it every year, BP, you know winter is coming. I know that. Believe me, I know it. But notice these lower level clouds in this area right here. This is an indicator of temperature changes. And looking at the NT microphysics chart, you can see this pink underlayment here, guys. That's just telling you about temperature changes, things like that. Some people are starting to see snow, but that's going to intensify. Moisture right here, you're seeing that, guys. That's going to be on us tomorrow. And I know through Friday we'll have to see past that point, but it looks like it's setting up. And really, a lot of places need moisture because we've seen the red flag warnings, drought warnings, and things like that. And we don't need big forest fires. Now, notice on the West Coast, been a long day. A lot of moisture building in right here, all along here from Central California up into Canada. So again, I just saw videos, some of you guys may have seen them, to where the streets in Vegas were flooding and anything that went down steps was getting really drenched real well. Now, what you're looking at now is called NOAA wind speed, and it's been on our website for about 12 years. We used it many times. And you have all the parameters here that you need for just about anything, air particles and everything else. But there's something I pointed out a few years ago, and I want to just point out the fact that anomaly is still there. And let's take a look at that. But what they're talking about is you can see the U.S. here, tilted down like this. And they're saying some of the vortices, which you're seeing here, Arctic vortices, and right in here especially, are breaking apart. And they will do that in the wintertime sometimes, and what will happen is you'll have hurricane force winds around the pole if the weather's natural. It's not really that natural right now, but as far as we're seeing tilts in the planet. Remember the newscast from year before last, or last year really, but the hurricane season before last, where the Earth had tilted 151 miles south because the equator, where your international convergence zone or intercontinental convergence zone is located, had drifted 151 miles up into Africa, much further. But I looked back in time and I saw that in the last 10 years, that had drifted about 360 miles. But they mentioned it just, and then I still save that video if anybody wants to see it, of the newscast from Europe when they were talking about it, showing greenery extending further north into Africa, a regreening of the deserts. But what I want to do is show you something here. Many of you have seen it before, and I want to give you a little bit of history. This is the North Pole right there. Turn the grid off. That's your wind speed. And there's this anomaly right there. This is the intersection of not the magnetic pole, but the geo pole, the physical pole. Anyway, this anomaly is here, and it's on the South Pole. Some people have tried to downplay it, but really their information they gave me saying this is not real didn't pan out when I dug a little deeper into it. And that happens a lot of times when people are trying to suppress information. But this half circle or semicircle here has been talked about before. And I think it may have been, if you guys are familiar with Rex Bear at the Leak Project, he's got a fellow that comes on ever so often, an older gentleman, older than me even, and he's a scientist, he's been to the poles. And he's been there since the Byrd expeditions and all of that, but it was top secret. And he has given some very important information about these poles. One of the things that he's talked about, now again, this may blow a lot of people's mind or throw you off, is that of the hollow earth theory. Now, I don't necessarily go along with that. I do know there's vast caverns that go through the entire planet, and there's oceans that they have detected throughout the interior of the planet. One of them are larger than the oceans on the surface. Anyway, what this guy was talking about, I wish I could remember his name, was that there's not and you always see the images, if they fly over the poles, whited out. If it wasn't anything going on there, why would it just be white spots in the map? But what he talked about was the entrance, now bear with me here, was a very long 90-something mile wide dip into the side of a mountain range. And it started out shallow, and the further you went in, as groups of people or whatever went into this loop, it went inside here. Now, a lot of people, you've heard in many books about a hollow earth. I don't think that's true. I think there are caverns throughout the earth, and they are connected both all the way from the south true pole to the north true pole. And I want to point out a few things here. Just bear with me. I'm going to turn the wind on, and if you look over here, we're going to start out with the grid here. We're going to go to the surface right there, FSC. See that? Now, what you're seeing in this grid, as I pull it up, it'll stop that wind, is an air intake. And the people that were coming against me on this thing were saying, no, this is just a way that they seam everything together in this model.